kind of screwing this up.
Is something happening?
Yeah.
Is something supposed to be happening?
No, I don't know. Here we go. So bad. I don't even care. That's our intro for this week. It's our Halloween.
Right.
It's our Halloween episode.
Welcome to the show. I think did you just push somebody off your porch or off the building?
Yeah, I was trying to play some spooky music I found. Hopefully it's royalty free. So I didn't want to start out with our traditional, regular everyday intro. It's Halloween, man. Actually, when this comes out, Halloween is officially tomorrow. When this comes out. So you going to any Halloween parties or anything?
I don't think my wife and I are going to any like Halloween parties, like what you would traditionally call an adult party or whatever. We are taking a whole bunch, like the 31st, the actual day of trick-or-treating. Mm-hmm. We are definitely walking around our neighborhood with my sister and her kids and my neighbors' kids, and I'm sure we'll be towing. Some of us will be dressed up, definitely. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm sure we'll be towing some adult beverages with us. So is that a party? Probably not. Are we still going to have fun?
Yeah. Sounds like fun. Yeah, we are going to a friend's Halloween party. We went to last year. It's pretty fun. Everybody just dresses up and hang out for a little while. It's weird about Halloween parties.
Besides all the costumes?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's obviously like the big part of it, with Halloween. But I feel like once you show up in your costume and you're in, character.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, call it maybe like a half an hour. Everybody just starts peeling parts of their costume off.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of over it by that point. And
especially if you have like some kind of mask on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You're not wearing that shit all night. No. So my friend Justin and I were talking about it. And I was like, it is kind of weird that, sometimes costumes can get expensive when you start adding up all the little, parts and pieces you need for it.
For sure.
Call it like maybe like a, $7,500 you might drop on a costume that you're literally going to wear for like a half an hour just because it's tradition. I mean, it's fun. I'm not saying we're not going to do it, but then you just throw all the stuff in a bag and never look at it again. Yeah.
That we have, and I'm sure many people and families do that. There's a box downstairs in our storage area that is just filled with old costumes.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You don't do anything with them, but I think like kids' costumes are, easier to deal with as far as the, financial part of it. So like they're $20-$30. Like they're not that expensive. Yeah. Most of them, I think like, what's the Spirit Halloween? They have such an arrangement and variety of costumes to pick from for kids. And like I said, I think they're like, maybe $20 or $30. You'd probably know a little better, probably recently buying some.
Yeah. I mean, some of them, what's weird about that is that the prices of costumes, especially for kids, has definitely gone up the last few years.
Like everything else.
Like everything else, but but it's almost doubled in a way because when we were looking at costumes for our kids, no joke, when we're looking at stuff that was some of the costumes were like $40 or $50.
No kidding. Okay.
And this is not something that was like, oh, this is elaborate and it's got
like a witch
it's
costume.
got all these pieces, right? Yeah, like this is like a wrapped up witch costume, and it comes with like a broom or something, or a pointy hat.
Yeah, it's all like it's so cheaply made.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like the markup has to be quite impressive, you would think.
Oh, the margin on those things now, of course, if you're a company that only really has one seasonal, like if you make Halloween costumes, you own a Halloween costume making company. I mean, your margin probably has to be high enough. You got to cover your expenses the rest of the year.
All right, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Right.
I guess so.
But still, you're right. They are. It's not like you're buying, a wool sweater, or not a wool sweater, but like a nice sweater or something, right?
Yeah, I actually saw something on, I think it was YouTube. Maybe it was how much money does Halloween like the revenue, I guess you want to call it. How much does it generate in a season? I think it said between costumes, decorations, candy, even it's a $6 billion industry.
Wow.
$6 billion.
That's pretty impressive number. I mean, right. Because you have to add in all the candy and the costumes and all the various other revenue generating activities that go on.
Yeah. Did you buy candy like to hand out this year?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We we're actually what we do is we package it all up into little individual bags and we leave the table on the driveway.
Oh, okay, kind of like, the honor system.
Yeah, because we want to go out with the kids, right? Neither of us wants to stay behind.
Right. Yeah, and most of the time the kids are with their parents, so they're not just going to pillage your table for all the candy.
It's never happened, and
right.
You know what's funny about that is that when we get back to the table, if we have any left, we're always like, oh, we don't even want it left. We take two.
Like, yeah, like I'll take like a bag. Like it was always kind of one of the things. Like, yeah, you'd have all this candy left over.
Yeah,
and like for like a day or two, you kind of like nip at it, but then you're over it. Like, I don't want the candy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, I've eaten so much trick-or-treating candy or candy just from around the entire week of Halloween that I just can't eat another piece.
Yeah, the price of candy has also gone up, like you said, as the costumes have as well. But dude, I bought a bag of candy for the house. We like to put some out just for companies stops in like, hey, we got candy out. It was like $25 for a bag of candy.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't a small bag, but like I don't remember them being that expensive. I thought it was like $15.
Imagine buying that stuff individually now.
Oh,
it's even worse.
Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, we don't need to keep chatting about the candy, but a couple things though that we are going to do this episode. I suppose we ought to tell everybody, huh?
I guess
you found the origin of Halloween.
Yep, we're gonna go through that.
I don't even want to guess what it might be. Oh, and by the way, we are skipping our last, grade 12 this week since it is our Halloween episode. We'll continue that next episode.
Yeah.
So origin of Halloween, and I found a list from Rotten Tomatoes, the top 10 horror movies of all time. Dun dun dun. And I also found a list of the most haunted, like real haunted places, the haunted houses. Okay. I hate haunted houses.
All jump scares.
Yeah, the most like legit haunted places you can visit in Pennsylvania.
Well, now you say legit haunted places. I think
legit in air quotes.
The operative word there is legit, but I think your point is that it's not it's not a made up factory of jump scares no. And things like that, right? It's an actual what people would consider a haunted location or a haunted building or a haunted basement.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I got that list too. So I guess if you're if you're one of them, like a paranormal, haunted like location person, you love seeing that kind of stuff. We're trying to ghost hunt. Maybe there's a place on this list for you. So there you go. Actually, one little thing though, I thought we'd talk about real quick before we get into everything. The Wilhelm scream, Joe. You're familiar.
I am familiar with it, but when you say the Wilhelm scream, I'm not sure how many of our listeners attach that to an actual action or thing.
Well, we play it all the time on the show.
We do,
and this is right here. I thought you and I were playing some games last night. We thought it'd be interesting if we actually just gave a quick 2-minute background on this.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it's been used in so many movies, TV shows over the years, and
thousands of media properties.
Yeah, and once you hear it, you can't not hear it when it's in a show. Right. Like I'll literally be watching a movie and somebody will get thrown off a building, and you'll hear that. And I'll stop. Yeah. I'll stop doing it though. I'm sorry.
Everyone's gonna hear it now, though.
You do. You pick it out, like and I'll pause it, rewind it. I'm like, I just heard the Wilhelm scream, and I'll rewind it and listen to it again. Yep. But the reason everybody uses it, and actually, before I even get to that, it originated. The first time it was ever done was the actual dude recorded it, and I watched a video on the background of this. It was pretty fascinating.
Okay.
They were talking about a scene that was coming up in a movie they were filming in 1951 called Distant Drums. And there was a character in the movie who was to be eaten by an alligator as they were crossing a creek on horses.
Okay.
And they weren't on horses. My bad. Anyway, they were crossing a creek, and they were discussing how he was going to scream as he was pulled under.
Okay.
And he went through about 5 or 6 different kinds of screams. And when he he landed on this one, but he kept going, did a couple more versions of it. And as they went back and listened to the screams again, they decided that this particular one, I'll do it one more time for everybody, was the best one. So when he got pulled in by the croc in the movie, they played this sound. It was not famous from that movie. The movie that it became famous from was in 1953, only 2 years later.
Oh, okay.
It was called The Charge at Fellow River. A private who was on the back of a horse named Private Wilhelm was shot in the leg with an arrow, and they used the sound effect from distant drums.
Okay.
But it became like synonymous with this movie that reused the sound effect, hence calling it the Wilhelm scream. And it just, dude, it went through such, it's like public domain scream. So
well, yeah, and so
nobody owns it.
So this is really interesting because I think that most people, and I was just talking about this with our friends the other day, I think most people think that the first usage was from the cowboy movie, right? The Charge at Feather River.
Correct, yeah. But it was from a movie 2 years prior.
It actually came prior to that. So then what happened with the sound clip? And did the sound clip end up in the public domain? And that's why it's everywhere?
Anybody can use it because it's free to use. You can just use it.
It's in the public, right? It's in the public domain. The copyright on it has expired years ago.
I don't think there ever was a copyright on it.
I mean, maybe
because shortly after that movie came out, unless the copyright was like 1 year, like I don't know, but dude, it's been in so many films. I just wanted to go through maybe like some notable ones here.
Okay, yeah.
It's been in I think they've used it in every Star Wars film.
Oh yeah. I've seen it in many of the Star Wars films.
Yeah, the popular one was
younger.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I would say when I was younger, that was probably the place where I saw it the most.
Yeah, in the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
When Luke shot, when they were in the Death Star, and he shot a couple of the stormtroopers off that one ledge, and he falls down that huge hole. They used it right there, and so many other places. They shot one in the third movie where he fell into that like big sand creature thing.
The Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. That guy's Wilhelm screamed on the way in. But no, it's been like Indiana Jones movies, Poltergeist, Howard the Duck, Spaceballs. I think it's been like a Gremlins movie. Batman movies have used it. There's so many on this list. I'm not going to go through all of them. But yeah, dude, like I said, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Like it is everywhere. Spider-Man movies, Lord of the Rings movies. They just slip it in anywhere. And the reason that they use it, like I said, one, it's free, it's easy, but I think that was the original choice to use it. But it sort of became like a tip of the hat or like almost a joke in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of, at this point, it's kind of like an inside Hollywood joke at this point. It's like, can you find the Wilhelm scream in this movie, right?
Yeah, and people will just slip it in somewhere. They use it in Toy Story when one of the characters got like knocked out of a window.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's everywhere, and now it's just funny to everybody to like you said, try and find that spot to slip it in somewhere.
Well, now you've done it. Now you've done it because all of our listeners, the next action or scary or whatever, it doesn't even have to be those two. Just anywhere in the movie, you never know when you're going to hear the Wilhelm scream pop up, and now people are going to be listening for it.
I hope so. You're probably tired of hearing me push that button, but anyway, all right.
We need to do a silent video where we're going through action poses, and the only thing that we put into the video is the Wilhelm scream.
Okay, sign me up. That'd be fun. So yeah, let's jump into the origin of Halloween, man. Since this is our Halloween episode. So where did it actually come from? So let's hear it.
Yeah. So if you go way back, the origins it's actually an ancient. See, I actually kind of had a misnomer to this. I thought it was like a kind of like a Catholic Church thing, but like most things, the Catholic Church sneaks their way into it later on in the story. But the actual roots of Halloween come from a Celtic festival pronounced Samhain. And it's really weird how it's spelled, though. It's spelled, the Celtic festival is spelled Samhain or Hain. Samhain.
Samhain.
Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain because, right? Okay. I mean,
It's Celtic.
Obviously, it's Celtic, right?
So there you go.
And I don't speak Celtic, so I'm just going to have to trust that my notes here that I gathered from the interwebs are correct. Now, by the way, too, just in case anyone's wondering, this comes from the Library of Congress.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm pretty sure
they probably did some research.
Right, I'm pretty sure we could trust the source here. However, I did double check this against some other things, and they all pretty much repeat the same thing. So I'm relatively sure that what I'm speaking about is accurate. So anyway, it has its roots in this Celtic festival called Samhain, and it was basically as a celebration at the end of summer. Like they were celebrating the harvest, the end of summer, and the Celtic version of this was essentially bonfires and costumes, right? Because there was kind of a belief that the spirits would come out at the end of the harvest season. So there was a lot of fire lighting, and the costumes would scare the ghosts away that that would come out at the end of the harvest season for some reason, right? Celtic festival. Don't know 100% of the details, but that's where it has its roots. Now, as time goes on, like many things in the Middle Ages, right around, well, maybe pre-Middle Ages, in the 8th century, of course, the Catholic Church gets involved, what they did with a lot of holidays. In fact, and this is not a good or bad thing, I'm not, I don't care either way, but like with a lot of holidays that have some kind of religious overtone to them or some type of, they may deal with life or death along, something along those lines. The Catholic Church squeezes their foot in the door, and they're like, they sometimes try to turn certain things into their thing. So Pope Gregory III he designated November 1st. So we're right around, what we traditionally, call Halloween, October 31st, as All Saints Day.
Okay.
Right. And they also, in culture and traditions at the time, started to incorporate a lot of those older Celtic festival norms, like the fire and the costume wearing and wearing costumes at the end of, traditionally October, early November, into All Saints Day.
Wait, okay. I apologize if I didn't hear.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Cut in here, please do.
All Saints Day is like November 1st or 2nd or something like that, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so Halloween, which is, you're probably gonna get in this. I'm sorry. That was when they started calling it Hallows Eve, correct?
It was shortly after. So later,
or All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve, right?
Yeah.
So All Saints Day, again, so a few hundred more years go by, and it starts to become All Hallows Eve. That gets merged in with several other cultures. And I'm giving like the short version because there's a lot of other details here. That merges into later, people start calling it Halloween, right?
I think so. I have a theory on that.
Okay, shoot.
I think that perhaps with the right accent being used while saying Hallows Eve, I think it morphed. I don't think they decided one day that they're like, you know what? Let's call All Hallows Eve. Let's just call it Halloween. I think it morphed into Halloween.
Yeah.
Just from people saying Hallows Eve. And I think it's one of the things, like, you play telephone, with your friends when you're kids. You say something enough, it might start to get screwed up. I think it just morphed. I think Halloween was never something people decided on and just turned into it.
Right.
That's my guess.
It is. No, and I've often felt, or not felt, but I've often thought the same thing, that like as people said All Hallows, it's even hard to say, right. All Hallows Eve, right? Over time, that starts to get smushed together through different dialects and cultures and becomes Halloween. Because as early as, this is kind of interesting, I'm like, when did this start coming up, within the United States, as like an advertised tradition, right? Like when were we like putting in the paper, like Halloween in your neighborhood will be on this day, right? And at least according to this article, there are pictures from U.S. newspapers as far back as 1912, where we were talking about the tradition of Halloween, which incorporated kids and family members dressing up in something and perhaps getting together for a party or whatnot. Yeah.
Well, I think the origin of that was like to deter or confuse, spirits or something like that. Wasn't something
there is some of that in there. Halloween is, the more you look into this, and we'll link the article. Hopefully, remember to do this.
It's a very spiritual holiday.
Yeah, there's a lot of convergence of different versions of something very similar, which is spirits coming out. So the Celtics had theirs. the Catholics had theirs, and other Germanic traditions and stuff had theirs, and they all kind of get smushed together into this All Hallows Eve, which becomes Halloween.
Yeah, I think part of the I don't know if you want to call it lore, but they would say like the plane between the living and the dead is like thinnest at this particular.
It opens up.
Yeah, like at this particular time, of the year. And again, I don't know if it's real, if it's lore, if it's what it is. Hard to say. I'm not exactly sure what it's what's true about it. I guess
right.
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of this history too is what we understand by looking backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we're not experiencing this moving forward, right? We're in the present day today, but just like today's traditions will probably change over the next couple of 100 years, it's not an exact science looking backwards and trying to figure out exactly what moments things changed or when things started.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I don't think our traditions will. The current traditions that exist right now will morph as easily as they did back then because it was all conversation. It was all people.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Now it's just everything. All real information is available at people's fingertips, and I don't believe that things like that can change over the course of 50, 80, 100 years as easily as it did back then. That's just,
also considering too, a lot of these traditions took hundreds of years to evolve as well into what we know them as today. So it certainly is a longer period of time. You need enough time to see something develop and change, into something like Halloween.
Yeah. What did you find out about the trick or treat?
I was just looking at that.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah. See, because that's obviously like the big draw, especially for for children, is trick or treat, and they walk up and they get candy. Yep. What was the trick? Where'd that come from?
Theories, basically. There's three standing theories, at least what I found in this Library of Congress article. The first theory is that it's just the natural progression of the original Celtic tradition to leave out food to appease those spirits at the end of the harvest season, right?
Okay.
So what people would do at the time is they would leave out food or whatever, and other people would come around and take it, right? That as part of the tradition. So that's theory number one, that really its roots are in the original Celtic tradition, but it's not definitive. So the second theory, the activity of trick-or-treating is more related to a Scottish practice of what's called guising, which is it says a secular version of souling.
Okay.
So during the Middle Ages, children and adults would collect food and money from local homes in return for prayers for the dead on All Souls Day. So here we start to see that All Souls Day, that All Saints Day, All Souls Day thing kind of come into play, that early November. And and the theory there is that practice morphed, kind of backward into, October 31st, Halloween.
Okay.
There's a third theory.
Okay. Maybe this one will explain more.
I mean, right. It's a lot of this stuff. We've just been doing it for so long that where it comes from, again, is this slow amalgamation of ideas and concepts. But the third theory argues that modern American trick-or-treating actually comes from a Germanic American Christmas tradition called bell-snickling.
Bell-snickling? I like that.
Yeah, bell-snickling. Yeah, I'm gonna start using that in my everyday conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I went bell-snickling last night.
Like what?
Yeah, right. Children would dress in costume. So in bell-snickling, this was a Christmas tradition, but children would dress in costume, and they would call on their neighbors to see if they could guess who they are. Right. So maybe I don't know how long ago this was, a few hundred years ago. Like, who am I? Right? Like, oh, you're this person, so have a piece of candy, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So there's just these three broader concepts that seems to have either morphed together or one of them was kind of more influential than the others. I don't know what the answer is, but they're the three broader concepts for what we call today trick-or-treating, which is throwing on costumes, knocking on people's door and saying, "Give me some candy."
Yeah, but my question was, you might not have the answer, specifically, but when you say trick or treat,
yeah,
no one gets the trick. It's always the treat. What was the trick when when this originated? When people would walk up to someone's door, and say trick or treat,
Yeah.
what would the trick have been?
Well, I think the trick part, and again, in the broader text of the whole idea of what the night was supposed to be, but there is something you've heard of the concept of like Devil's Night.
Yeah.
This has different origins of source, but it was the idea that pranks were supposed to be part of the good-natured mischief of a lot of this. And again, this comes from some of the different cultures that all brought this together, or the three or four major things that we've talked about today, is that this, for some reason, and it doesn't say specifically here why, but the concept of this organized mischief was either brought up from the older traditions, or it kind of morphed into it when the Scottish and Irish immigrants came to America, because it seems to be more part of their culture. So this saying eventually appears over time. You get into about, I think it was about the 1950s, I think it is.
Okay.
I'd have to double check that, but you kind of get into about the 1950s where people started saying something like, hey, trick or treat, instead of some long convoluted, hey, it's mischief night, we're dressed up in costumes, now give me some candy.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So do you think that, like when we were kids, and I doubt this happens as much as it did, when we were younger.
Yeah.
But remember, like, egging someone's house, or, toilet papering someone's trees and stuff like that. So is that the trade-off? Like you walk up to someone's house as a kid and you say trick or treat. If they do not give you a treat, then you, as the Halloween goer, are now obligated to trick them.
I think, right.
Like,
I think
it's like a you pick.
Right.
Okay.
You give me a treat, or I'm going to toilet paper your house.
Okay. Or if you're one of those houses that just don't participate, well, they're left with no other option except to trick you, right?
It's the only thing you can do.
Okay.
Right. The only thing you can do is I don't know, something to them that's not going to be terrible.
Yeah. Go like all Home Alone style on them, and like rig their house up and like pour water on their front steps so it freezes.
Yeah, right. They come out in the morning, they fall on their face, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we got tricked." Yeah. Like, damn it! I should have given out candy this year.
Right.
But instead, they chopped down my cherry tree.
That would be mean.
So I have to mention this.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually, I think this is hilarious. Personally, I don't know if anyone else would find it funny, but when we were younger, and I won't name names. I don't want to get people in trouble 30 years later. But when we were younger, one of the pranks that some people that I know used to do was everyone knows what Smashing Pumpkins are. And I'm not talking about the band, right? I'm talking about the actual the
act of Smashing Pumpkins.
Right. The not cool, actually kind of mean thing to do on Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got our pumpkin smashed a couple of years. It was devastating as a child. And you put that effort in. You're proud of your pumpkin sitting out there, and you hear it just thump off the road, and you look out and see kids running. Like, sons of bitches.
I can say I personally never participated in it. I've known people that have, but I've never went around on the night before Halloween or 2 nights, because what would happen is the earlier people would put their stuff out, the bigger risk of it was getting smashed that week.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Regardless, everyone knows what Smashing Pumpkins is, right? And again, not the band, the actual really mean activity of smashing other people's pumpkins on the ground and leaving them to be. So, however, there was a Halloween prank that I am privy to that I actually thought was rather hilarious. Okay. So, sometime, midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, when no one knows what the hell you're doing out there.
Probably mid-90s, right?
Yep, midnight. This is about the mid-90s. Find some people that have some pumpkins on their porch, right? Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going there. Now, just borrow those pumpkins for a little bit. Just take them with you. Take them with you somewhere else. Carve them and put them back.
Oh, are you serious? Oh, wait, what would they carve into them?
Just whatever. Smiley faces, frowny faces, scary faces. But imagine you're the person in this house. You have like this whole collection of uncarved pumpkins on your porch. And they're there, like you put them out the night and you come back the next day. Or you wake up in the morning, you go out on your porch to grab the paper, and the pumpkins are carved.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, it's definitely not the worst thing in the world, and it's honestly kind of funny.
Yeah. That's actually pretty creative. It's not, it's not mean. You're not ruining it. It's just kind of a funny trick, I guess. You want to call it a trick?
Yeah, there's the trick in Halloween. And I think that's more in the tradition of perhaps what the whole Night of Mischief or Devil's Night was really all about.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah. So anything else on the history of Halloween?
Well, if anyone wants to read it, all you have to do is go to the Library of Congress, search History of Halloween or the Origins of Halloween Traditions, and it will pull up a couple different articles, or just go to Google. I don't care, but it's definitely out there. Go check it out.
Yeah. What's your go-to candy? If you got a bowl like in front of you and there's a variety of Halloween candies in there, Joe, someone says, pick one. Which Halloween candy are you going to snag?
I tell you what, I really, really like Kit Kats.
Kit Kats are pretty awesome.
Kit Kats and Twix really are my go-to. Like, I don't care for big Twix or little Twix, whatever.
You like that little crunch in there, huh?
Oh yeah, the cookie with the caramel and the chocolate around it, fantastic.
Those are pretty great. You like what?
They have other Twixes too. They have like a cookies and cream based one. They have a peanut butter based one.
Those, yeah.
Those are also fantastic. So if someone could just drop a truckload of Trix off in my driveway, I'd eat them all that night.
Yeah, those are pretty good. I think for me, I've always been a big fan of, I don't even know what you call it, but whatever the stuff is in like a Three Musketeers or like a Milky Way.
Oh yeah. The filling. What is that?
I don't know. Is it nougat?
No, I think
nougat's a little thicker.
Yeah, nougat is something very specific. You're right. It's
fluffier
in a Milky Way. It's a fluffier filling. It's a fluffy chocolate.
Yeah, marshmallow based or something. I don't know. It's different. I don't know what it is, but it's fantastic.
It's a secret.
Yeah, I think I'll lean towards a Milky Way, just because I enjoy the caramel, however you pronounce it.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good one for me. I love Milky Ways.
Milky Ways are good. I definitely could eat a Milky Way.
Yeah. So or a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Hey, you know what? You reminded me of something.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things we forgot to do, and I may still post it on the Facebook page, is to ask our audience the pumpkin spice question. Does pumpkin spice ruin everything or not? We forgot to ask that a couple weeks ago, and I still want the answer to that. So if you're listening to this episode, maybe if we remember to do so, remember to go tell us if it sucks or not.
I think it's going to be a resounding no from girls, and possible like 75.
You think the lines?
20, yeah. Oh,
You think the lines will be divided there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, guys don't care. They're like, whatever, pumpkin spice, this, that, By don't care, I mean they're not that interested in it.
Sure, fair enough.
But girls, man, they go nuts for pumpkin spice.
What's your wife's personal opinion on pumpkin spice?
Oh, she loves it.
Loves it. She loves pumpkin spice everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. When we came up to Erie for my hockey game, which I won't get into, but she couldn't watch because the elevator wasn't working.
Right.
She's currently on one of the little knee scooters because she broke her ankle. Anyway, while we were up there, she had me stop at what do you call it, Starbucks, and get her a nice pumpkin latte.
You ruined that latte.
Ordering from Starbucks is so confusing.
I know it is. It still is.
It is. There's so many options. It's like, she's like, I need a, this probably wasn't her order, but it was like pumpkin latte with oat milk and like low fat something, this that, and like there's like, I'm like, can I just say pumpkin latte?
Yeah, can I just not have that? Is that not a thing?
Like, what? Like, so I had to have her text me the order. So I just read it to them. I'm like, okay, I need a venti latte with oat milk, and like I'm just reading it like right off the phone, trying not to screw it up.
And usually if you get through it, you've actually ordered something. But I've been to Starbucks on occasion, and when I get something that I'm unfamiliar with, they'll ask me a question. They'll say, "Do you want this with it?" And I'm always like, "I have no idea. I didn't know that was in there."
Yeah, no clue. Yeah, if you're in the car with your wife and she wants something, and you say you don't, do you make her lean over you and yell at the machine like to order?
No, I usually order whatever the hell it is, but I always make sure that I say it like correctly. I'm like, what do I say again?
I screw it up. I can't get it right. So I usually just have her lean over and just kind of scream the order.
Hey, I tell you what, that is probably much more efficient than the system I'm using.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You should try it. It's great. So, all right, well, let's keep moving through here. We got about 25 minutes left. I want to get through the most haunted. That's next. The what is it called here? The most.
Are we doing scariest or best thrillers?
Yeah,
or
the
horror
10.
Movies?
Where the hell's my list? Yeah, top 10 horror movies. Got them all scatterbrained according to Rotten Tomatoes.
And this is their independent kind of. Is this written by somebody who just said, "I think these are the top 10," or is this like top 10 as aggregated by score or something?
Yes, it was by score.
Okay. Okay.
I'll start at the bottom. Number 10. Are you guys all ready for this? We were not going to make this like a whole drawn out thing, but number 10 is the 2017 film It. Did you ever see this, Joe?
I never saw the It remake. I never saw it. I don't intend to see it, but I do know it got decent reviews.
How do you just not like scary movies?
Yeah, this is gonna be tough for me.
You're not a scary movie watcher.
So I guess it depends on when we say scary movie, what we mean.
Well, like
right?
It.
So just complete full honesty. Would I ever sit down on my couch and watch It? No.
No? Oh my God. I think I've seen It like probably at least 3 or 4 times already.
I've never seen the original. I never saw the remake.
Really? The original was weird, man. It was long and it was bizarre. I'll say that.
I mean, that's Stephen King, right? It's Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The new ones, they split them up. Because if you ever watched it before, the first part is about them being children. The second part is where they're adults. And Pennywise comes back, whatever it's like 23 years later, and torments the town again of Derry. You should really watch it. It's such a well shot movie. But anyway, I'm gonna move on though because I could ramble about every one of these.
But right, because you've seen. Let me ask you a question before you keep going. Have you seen all of these?
I think I've seen all but like 2.
Okay, all right, good.
All right, next one is the 2010 movie Insidious. I've seen this only once when it came out, so I saw it like 13 years ago.
That doesn't even ring a bell with me. Is there a plot device or something that I should know about there?
It's just it has to do with like demonic presence, and honestly I can't remember the exact plot line, but I remember it was pretty freaky. It's definitely, when you ask people like, one of their favorite movies, it's usually quite up there.
Okay.
This next one I have not seen. It's the 2012 movie with Ethan Hawke. It's called Sinister. I remember the trailer for it. It does look really good. So I don't know if you've seen it, listening, maybe post something and let us know what you thought of that one. This
again, one, I almost feel bad that I can't partake in this in the analysis of these movies.
Yeah, well, sorry, man.
I know. What a bummer.
Number 7, Halloween from 1978. Did you watch any of the Halloweens?
I have seen multiple Halloween movies, especially when we were teenagers. I might have even seen the 1978 one. They're fine. They're slasher. They're what do you want to call it? Is the technical name a slasher film?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Right, where there's the central core plot device, which is the murderous entity.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of like a Jason Voorhees.
Exactly.
Freddy Krueger. Yeah. This was the Michael Myers. Right. Halloween.
Is that what Halloween is? Is Halloween's Michael Myers, right?
Yeah.
It's not Jason. Okay.
Yeah. My favorite Halloween movie, by Halloween I mean the actual title, was the one that Rob Zombie made in like 2010, I think it was. It was like the origin story of Michael Myers.
Okay.
Followed him as a young kid, and then all the events that took place that kind of turned him into what we all know as the psychopath Michael Myers.
Well, I forget. Is Michael Myers is the lore there? Is he human or is he reborn from something?
Oh no, he's totally human. He's just crazy.
He is human. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he's just crazy. I just didn't know. I forgot because Jason is not, right? In the Jason series.
Right. He's like the undead in a way.
Yeah, he keeps getting reborn because he had some tragic accident when he was killed or something, I think.
Yeah, like a canoeing accident like Crystal Lake. The first one didn't even involve him. Did you know that?
Wait, really?
No, the very first Friday the 13th was his mother. Spoiler, his mother was the killer.
Okay.
In the movie, she blamed the camp counselors, the camp workers, as it was their fault for
got it.
son
so she
drowning.
she was the murderer.
Yes, but at the end of the film, which wasn't even initially planned, I remember seeing the history on this. Michael Myers jumps out of the water and like grabs a hold of a boat.
Wait, You mean Jason?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jason Voorhees jumps out of the water, like the child jumps out of the water, and that is what continues
the series
the whole way through. Yeah, so
got it. Okay.
Yeah, the mother. She was only in the very first one. Got killed. But anyway, all right. So let's keep moving down this list.
All right,
number 6, 2002, The Ring. Do you remember The Ring?
I actually have seen The Ring, and I will say that out of scary movies, you know, I'm not a big fan, but I have seen it, and it was good.
Yeah, dude. When she comes out of the TV, that was pretty freaky.
Yeah, it's very frightening. It's a what I'll call a quote unquote good movie. I don't know how much I really enjoy it, but it's a good movie in, you know, what I'll consider something that I enjoyed.
Yeah, like when she was like in a well or something. That was The Ring.
Yes.
That was the actual ring of the, you know, that they would show. But no,
which I believe is based on a Japanese version of the same movie.
Oh, was it really? Okay.
Yeah, The Ring is an Americanization of a Japanese entity.
You know, I could see that where that would be a Japanese movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. All right. Number 5, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 1974 version.
Well, that's just a classic, right?
It's a classic. I mean, this version was really good. It was definitely scary, for sure. It was pretty freaky. But the one that came out in 2005 or whatever it was, the remake was, in my opinion, it was so much better. It was so good, dude.
The remake. So you're a remake person in this regard, not an original.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Number 4 is 1980s The Shining.
Okay. I mean, okay, I've seen The Shining.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think about The Shining?
All right. I'm going to say something that no one's going to agree with. I already get that. To be honest with you, The Shining bores the hell out of me.
It's a slow burn.
Every time I've seen it, and I respect it. Let me just say that. I respect it, and I know it's a well-respected film. It just bores the hell out of me.
Yeah, I like it though. Like I like that slow pace to it, the build. You know,
yeah, and I think people do overall.
Yeah, like it's so good just to watch his slow progression, his like spiral into, you know.
Oh yeah.
Turning, you know, psychotic, being stuck at the Overlook Hotel.
He does an amazing job in that movie. It's Jack.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. His acting is amazing in that movie, and as is Shelley Duvall's. It's just my only complaint is it just takes forever to get into the movie. But to your point, part of the draw of that movie is his slow descent into madness.
Yeah, it was.
I get it.
Fantastic. But I think in today's standards, as far as, you know, the way they pace movies, it's definitely a little jarring if you haven't seen it and you go back and watch it. You're like, God, this is taking forever to get into anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're more into the modern, you know, horror movies,
modern pacing.
Yeah, it might be a little bit weird to watch.
And I'm not even saying that's a good thing, right? Because I actually I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here. And I'm going to say, I think one of the things that modern movies suffer from is many of them try to move too quickly.
Yeah.
And try to cover too much ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to say, like I always say, you know when the best movies came out? Right in the middle, right in the 1990s.
Oh, they were pretty great. Next one on the list, Joe, number 3. This is from 2013, The Conjuring.
I have not seen The Conjuring.
Oh my God, dude. This one is like right up there with one of my favorite horror movies. It's so good. And the pacing of this is like just right. You know, they don't jump right into it, and, you know, they don't drag you on for too awful long. You know, it's such a good, like, I love a good, like, kind of ghost, you know, paranormal kind of movie.
Is that, as I was gonna say, what is it really? What's the general loose plot? Is it's a paranormal type thriller?
Yeah,
it's not there's a slasher or something.
Yeah, there's a family that moves into a house, and they start having, you know, paranormal events happening.
Okay, I hate it when that happens.
Right, and they end up calling in a paranormal investigating team. God, I can't remember the name of the something. I think it was the Warrens. I think it was Ed Warren or something like that. Anyway,
but it kind of goes from there.
Yeah, and then that's they come in, they start investigating, and then, you know, they have to get the church involved because they decide that they need to have an exorcism, and it got pretty wild, dude. Like it was a crazy film, loosely based on a true story.
probably doing a lot of work there.
Yes. Yeah, very loosely. Number 2 is Hereditary. This is from 2018. This movie I have not seen.
Okay, and it's number 2. You haven't seen number 2.
I have not. No, I've seen this like on Hulu and other platforms numerous times. And I just skip past it. And I have to be in the right mood to watch like a good horror movie.
Oh, for sure, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm in the mood for a good flick. I don't usually pick a horror movie, so I got to be right there, in the mindset. This one looks. I watched the trailer earlier today as I was going over this list. It looks really good, and I think I am going to watch it. So,
okay, all right. Well, then I expect to hear what you thought, especially because it's number 2.
Yeah. So number 1, Joe. Do you have a guess? I obviously have not named this movie, so. Has there been one kind of looming in the back of your mind that you've been thinking might be number 1?
Let me ask you something. Let me get a hint from you here.
Mm-hmm.
Is it one of the slasher films or whatever? Is it one of those, or is it sci-fi?
No, I mean not sci-fi, not slasher. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Came out about 50 years ago.
50 years ago. Okay. I'm gonna go with Night of the Living Dead.
No. Not a bad guess, though. This is the 1973 The Exorcist.
Oh, of course the answer is The Exorcist. It's the number 1 movie on every haunted list or every horror movie list.
Yeah, and it's one of the things. Like, do you think it gets a nod? Like, it's The Exorcist. It's always The Exorcist is the scariest
It's like
movie.
The Godfather, right? It's like
exactly.
The Exorcist and The Godfather and a couple other movies are just number 1 on every time they do one of these rankings. And it's just like, because they have the respect of the community, the larger movie community. So they just go right to number 1.
Yeah. Do you think that it is, if you, okay, let's say that you played every single one of these movies on this list. Okay.
Right.
For somebody who has never seen any of these movies, has no knowledge of the history of any of these movies, would that movie land as number 1?
I think that is a great way to put that. You just took somebody who's never seen and you just played them all. Would they also consistently say number 1? Or you had a bunch of people that you could just start with a blank slate.
Exactly.
Right? Honestly, I don't know. My answer to that is it's going to be mixed. I find it almost impossible. Let's suppose you took it and did it to 50 people, right? Or even 10 people. I find it implausible that, say, most of those people, all 9 or 10 or 40 of them or whatever, would be like, this movie's number 1. I just find it hard to believe, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, because it comes down to what scares the watcher. What really kind of got you. And if it's something based more in plausible reality, like Texas Chainsaw could be that was so freaky because that could totally happen. Somebody might appreciate The Exorcist, but they might be like, wow, I mean, can that even really happen? You know what I mean?
Right. I just today, I just don't think. Right. And I think we're in agreement there. I just don't think you could consistently see it number 1. I think the reason why movie reviewers and scores rank it constantly number 1 because of the respect that it rightfully so gets for doing what it did. And it's arguably a well-shot, good movie.
Yeah. It very well shot. Like they did a great, 50 years ago. Yeah, that movie was like next level as far as what they were doing.
I mean, it's hard to watch some movies from like 20 years ago without cringing and being like, that looks awful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one definitely stands the test of time. Especially like Linda Blair's makeup and everything, all the special effects they did with her, dude. It was freaky.
What year did it come out again?
73.
73. You know what's wild about that is that you have to take the impact of what you just said. You said 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. And my brain immediately went to like the 1950s or the 1960s, right?
Yeah, it was only 7 years before we were born.
Right. This is the 1970s, and Star Wars is like right behind that, right? We're approaching the Star Wars era at that point.
Yeah, when was Star Wars? Like 70...
78, 79?
Yeah, right in there. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, that's how...
That's crazy.
I know, right? Because you say 50 years, and my mindset is still
1950s.
1977, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, 50 years, 1973.
Yeah. I mean, that's just absolutely wild to me. My brain is just not prepared for talking about those kinds of numbers. So stop scaring me with how old I'm turning into.
Yeah,
How old I'm
exactly.
getting.
Yeah, it's like when you have to, fill out one of those, anything online, where, like, put your age in. You have to scroll like the little, swipey
Yeah.
with the wheel.
Yep.
It takes a little longer now to get down to 1980.
It used to be so quick.
I know. And like, ooh, this is getting down the list there a little bit.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, all right. Last list I have here, Joe, is the top haunted places. So if you're, like I said, if you're interested in, going to see some of these places, you can either just go visit them. Some of them you can actually do, like,
you can do tours and stuff, right?
Tours. You can even like investigate them. So there's a couple on here I didn't even know were even haunted. Oh, excuse me. All right, so let's check out a few of them here. We got about 5-6 minutes left.
Okay.
I have been to a couple of these actually. So let's see here. So this one here, I'm going to kind of work my way up this list.
All right.
First one here is it's called Hotel Bethlehem in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. They're all in PA.
Okay.
So it's a hangout of it's the hangout of many friendly ghosts, including the 1980s stage star who sings and dances for guests in the lobby. What? Wait, like as a ghost?
What?
It says sings.
Is this like a scheduled event?
I don't know. What is this? I did not read this in advance. Yeah, so appears as okay. So in a former landlady who appears without shoes or stockings. So again, all
So this
hearsay.
building is pretty old. It looks like it was built in the 1920s.
It says the 1741 Hotel Bethlehem.
Wait, in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if there's two sections.
Oh, maybe. Oh, it might be like the old section and the new section.
Yeah, I wonder if there's two sections of this thing, because I'm trying to get caught up with what you're saying on your side of the podcast there, and I'm seeing 1922.
Okay.
But I'm also seeing pictures of it is very this is funny. In this like history thing, it's like one of the tags on it is ghosts, right? So they've tagged it with the ghost tag so people know that
it's haunted.
It's haunted, apparently. Yeah. Okay, so interesting. All right, so yeah, I think that's the case. I think parts of it were built at different times.
Yeah, I don't know if you can just go visit that place or not. This next one, what?
The hotel side you can't. The hotel side you can't. It's still open. It's still a hotel.
Oh, so you can just go like book a room and try and see if you can find some ghosts.
Yep, exactly.
All right. The next one on this list you can go visit, which is the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia.
I've heard of this one. Have you been there?
Yep. Yeah, we went there.
What did you think?
Dude, I tell you, well, we didn't ghost hunt it. We just went there and took a tour. It was pretty cool, dude. It's a whole big thing. You pay whatever it is, like a few bucks to get in, and they just let you just roam around. You can, matter of fact, I think they had like Audible, like you put like a headphone on.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I like that.
And as you go up to like each part, you can put in like A7, like wherever you're at, and it will play you the whatever it is about this particular area, and give you some like audible content to listen to. So
oh wow,
it was pretty cool. But it was, dude, it was wild though to see like this old prison. It had the corridors, like the paint's peeling off the walls and stuff, and
I'm looking at pictures of it now.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, dude. It was neat. I think it'd be awesome to do like investigate. And they do open it up for Halloween stuff.
Okay, there's a Halloween festival. You're right.
Yeah. So it's a long drive from here, but it would, if you're interested, it'd be pretty awesome to go check out. There's another one too. I think it's in Virginia. I cannot remember the name of it. But it's also another big prison down that way. It's supposed to be like super creepy and haunted, but that's not making the list because it's not in Pennsylvania.
I love this weird juxtaposition of the fact that there is a family fall festival that occurs at the penitentiary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. The next one on the list, Joe, I have also been to.
Okay.
And this one I did do a paranormal investigation with some friends at. This one's in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I keep saying PA. This one's in Newcastle, called the Haunted Hillview Manor.
Oh, okay. It's actually called the Haunted.
Well, that's what they call it, but it's
okay.
It's been rebranded as the Haunted Hillview Manor.
All right.
It was just the Hillview Manor. I believe it was even a hospital at one point, for like old people. And they, when we toured it, though, dude, it was pretty creepy, man. And I feel like we may have talked about this experience on the show before.
Maybe a couple years ago at this point.
Yeah, maybe. Because we are actually closing in on our 3-year anniversary, which is pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah, so this place, you can book tours. You can join tours. If you have a small group that wants to go, you can get yourself on the schedule for a night and do like a 4-hour tour, an overnight tour, where they pretty much like they show you around. They'll take you around the building, show you where everything's at.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of set you free. You can bring some stuff. You can bring, recorders, cameras, whatever you want to try out.
What was the original intention of the building? What was it? Or what
I think it was a hospital. I think, like, because there's like, it feels hospital-ish, like when you're in there.
Okay.
But I don't know if that was what it was the entire time. I feel like it, changed roles.
Changed hands over time.
Yeah, but now the place that the people that own it, it's strictly just for paranormal stuff. Like people just come in and check it out for hauntings.
Just in case you're wondering, it looks like it was the county's mentally ill, severely destitute, and elderly residents that didn't have any known family.
Well, that's just worse.
Yeah,
that's way worse. Okay.
Well, then there you go.
I was probably told that when we got there, like a history lesson, a 5-minute history on the place. But I forgot. Yeah.
I mean, who's gonna remember that anyway?
Yeah. But no, we all experienced like different things when we were there. And I remember I got like an interesting EVP, on a voice recorder. And the one thing that we saw that I think was the weirdest thing.
Okay.
Was we were in the boiler room and it was pretty dark. Mm-hmm. And I remember I always describe it when I tell the story. The only light that was in there was from an exit sign. So it was all kind of like red casted.
Oh, okay.
So a little creepy anyways. The room we were in was probably like maybe 12 feet across. And a few of us were on one wall and, a few of us were on the other wall with our backs up against the wall. And every time we'd enter a room, we'd kind of like just let ourselves acclimate to it. And we'd all kind of be quiet, let everything just kind of adjust. And then I remember I saw this shadow moving across the wall, like behind the people that were across from me.
Wow.
Our friends.
Okay.
And like I watched it and I followed it and it went down these steps and I looked back to the people against the wall and my friend's girlfriend at the time, she looks like right at me and she's like, I swear to God, I just felt something go behind me.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, I saw it. And I was like freaked out. So yeah, like that like credited what I was seeing, that she felt it. It was really bizarre, dude. Yeah, it was definitely.
What's wild about this place is that it didn't close until 2004.
Oh, okay. So not even that, 19 years ago.
What? And what year did you see it?
Oh, geez, it was probably 2010. Like it was probably, maybe, 10, 12 years ago.
Okay. So you saw it. So not even that long after it closed. So this place, when you were in it, isn't like completely run down or anything, right? It's not like the penitentiary. It's actually a building. Like it's still a well-standing building, right?
Oh yeah. It's big too.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's kind of cool. I would like, if you guys ever go back there,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it might not ever happen, but if you ever have a group that goes back, I would like to see this place. It seems quite interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And like, so we did the overnight one too. We were there like all night. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You slept there?
No, I didn't sleep. Some of it did sleep, but I didn't sleep.
You just stayed the whole night there?
Yeah. Yeah. We just did it all night and then we left at like 6 a.m.
I'm so confused now. We don't have time to cover it today, but I'm going to have to touch base with you about this because I'm like, are there even beds if you want to sleep?
No, you just find a chair, sleep against a wall.
That sounds awful.
You're not there to take a nap, dude. Like you better take a couple Red Bulls with you and like you're in it, man. Yeah,
it's also a reason I don't go to these places because I want to go. Here's the thing. I want to go, but I have to go with someone like you who can, I'm going to be very mean to myself for a second, who could put up with me.
All right. Right? About your skepticism.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no, it's a red sign. Oh, what are we going to do?
Like, get out of here.
Yeah. Stop it. You're ruining the fun. Yeah. Stop it, fun ruiner.
Yeah. All right. So I'll do a couple more on this list here.
Okay.
We'll get ready to wrap up. So another one I did not know was haunted is the Cathedral of Learning in Pittsburgh, also known as Kathy.
So I've been there. I've been to the Cathedral of Learning. It's an awesome building.
Yeah, it's right there in Pitt. And
they also say it's haunted.
They say it's haunted. They say it's known for mysterious activity, including shifting furniture, objects, cold spots, randomly flaring candles. So yeah, it's I think it'd be interesting to check that place out, but I don't know how.
Hold on a second. Can I say something there real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I love in all of these hauntings that cold spots in a building built in the 1920s apparently is a problem, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Apparently are a problem.
Yeah, they weren't known for their well-insulated, qualities.
Yeah, I'm sure the insulation of this place is awful.
Probably.
Anyway, sorry to rain on everyone's parade.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool though. I'd like to check that one out.
It is a very cool building. I have been there. I want to make a small note there. They have classrooms there, and there still are a couple classes that take place there. But what they've done with most of the classrooms is they basically turned them into museum pieces because they have classrooms designed from like every corner of the world, right? There's like a classroom that's designed, like something that might come from, Eastern Europe. There's a classroom that's designed from like something that comes from the early United States. There's a classroom designed from like the Egyptians. It's a really cool building to see. Definitely worth checking out.
I didn't see that part of it. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I know my daughter has classes in that building, or at least she did last year.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Another one here. We'll do two more here. Then we'll get ready to wrap up. This one is in Center Hall. I'm not sure where that's at, but it's Penn's Caves. You been to Penn's Caves?
I haven't been to Penn's Caves, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We stopped at Penn's Caves on our way across the state one time. Let's see. There's a folklore including a Seneca woman maiden who fell in love with a French trapper, were forbidden to marry. The couple ran away and were captured, and they were thrown into Penn's Caves to perish.
Yeah.
That's like the backstory, I suppose. But yeah, apparently Penn's Caves are haunted. Let's see.
The caves are really, really cool looking. Like I definitely would like to see this, and I could see how it'd be haunted. All right. I got it.
All right. Last one on the list is in no surprise, Gettysburg. It's called
Gettysburg.
Yeah, dude, Gettysburg is famously haunted. I mean, they do huge ghost tours, just even on the battlefields of Gettysburg. They're always claiming that they're seeing apparitions of soldiers, stuff like that.
I mean, that's pretty fascinating, actually. I've always wanted to see Gettysburg, and I certainly wouldn't mind.
Right, seeing it like a spooky way,
like that. Yeah, seeing it in a spooky way. Even though, yes, I'd be rolling my eyes the whole time. I still want to see it that way. Yeah,
I think like every popular ghost hunting show has been to Gettysburg.
Okay.
It's and the ones I've seen have been pretty interesting. They seem to find some cool stuff. It's not just all like, oh, I heard something.
Yeah.
But this place is called apparently the most haunted place is the Farnsworth House Inn. It's so it was used to shelter for Confederate sharpshooters.
Okay.
In a makeshift hospital after the Battle of Gettysburg. It says including ghosts. So they do
very interesting.
Oh, okay. So it includes, you can do ghost hunts and guided walks through cemeteries, hospitals, and battle sites. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool to see.
I would love to do that. I love that kind of stuff. Like my wife will roll her eyes sometimes, but
that'd probably be something I think my wife would enjoy it, but yeah, definitely, at least me and you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think your wife would probably enjoy that nearly as much as we would.
You could take me to any old military fort, and I will just walk around. I'm like an old man at this point. I'll just walk around that thing for hours, reading all the plaques, looking at all the cannons. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, all right, man. Well, I think we should wrap up our Halloween episode. I think we pretty much covered everything we're gonna do. So,
do we have an exit Halloween song?
No, we'll just do. Maybe we do. Here we go. Thank you for checking us out again, and we'll see you next Monday.
Spooky.
See you guys.
See ya.